So first of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Hiroshi Nakano. I'm from Japan, and I'm now CEO of the Zigen Venture company. It's a little bit just my introduction. I was born in Okayama. It's like Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh, and it's a prefecture in Japan. And I got a master's degree of actually electrical physics after Tokyo Institute of Technology. And just last year I came to Vietnam to develop the business. And actually it's new for us to online marketing market in Vietnam. But we have a great advantage because we develop our skills and techniques in Japan, so we believe that we can apply this technique even in Vietnam. So this is our master company. It's called Zigen. It means dimension in Japanese. And our company is the Zigen Venture. This is the Vietnamese branch. In Japan, we are operating some of the largest media in Japan, such as real estate and recruiting and car and NAS, and so on. So we have a lot of knowledge about the SEO and SEM. In Vietnam, it's also a very familiar keyword. In Japan, the competition is much hard compared to Vietnam, so I think that it's very useful for you to learn, to introduce our knowledge. So this is today's topic. Actually, I'd like to share some basic knowledge. Actually, it might be new for a bit of market, but it's kind of basic knowledge. The topic is how online marketing is so important in Vietnam. Actually, there's a lot of advertising, and the advertising, the way of the advertising, like display and Google AdWords, and also the Yahoo search engine marketing. And why is it so important? I will show the answer of that. And the second one is which type of marketing should be focused on. There's a lot of marketing. Maybe some of you guys are running companies, so maybe we need to know that what's the most important marketing. And the third one is what is the next trend of online marketing. Actually, in this seminar, I'd like to introduce the Japanese trend. Maybe, I guess the trend is a little bit late in Vietnam. I mean, the trend is, let's say, Japan is much faster compared to the other countries, so it's better to know the next trend from Japan. And of course, what's the biggest problem in Vietnam? Actually, I do a lot of research in the markets, and I found some big problems. And I think that maybe using our services we can solve that problem. So I will explain about the problem and the answer is the fifth one. So first one, you guys already know that the internet users expanding in Vietnam. It's now 30 million, almost 31 million users in Vietnam. It's quite a lot. And the internet penetration is also 34%. The global average is 33%, so it's the over the average. That means quite big. And also the growth in internet users is still growing now. And last year it's 5% growing. And I think it's in this year and next year it's also expanding. And the next one is, it's actually not marketing, but the market information about advertising market for next years. And actually, last year, let's look at the 2012, the market size is around 60 million US dollars. But in this year, it will be around 110 million US dollars, almost 2 times larger than last year. Which means that there is a lot of chances many companies join the online marketing. So we need to know what is the next trend, and we need to focus on much more. So as I said, now is the time to focus on online marketing. You guys are already focusing, but I think we really need much more information, much more techniques. Okay, the next one is the digital marketing should we focus on. This is a breakdown of our advertising expenditure in Vietnam last year. I think the colors is the difference. Okay, and the red area means it's a cost of ACM and SEO. It's just 20% of total costs. And actually, it's including the SEM and SEO. Maybe it's better to explain that SEM is the search engine marketing. The SEO is the search engine optimization. And it's 20%, but only if we focus on the cost of SEM, it's only about 5%. I think it's quite small, which means that there are still a lot of chance to join. Let's look at the example in Japan. Even in 2005, this is the orange line. This shows the SEM marketing cost. Its share is 32%, and it's growing. And in 2010, it's become 47%. And just remember the last slide, in Vietnam it's still 5%. So there are a lot of chances. It should be, I don't know the percentage of the next few years, but it should be increasing. Right? Okay, then there's a lot of marketing strategy, the way of the marketing, display, overlay, inline advertising. But what we are going to focus, the most focusing on is the search engine marketing, because there's a lot of chance to win this field. And of course, search engine marketing, there also good data that 98% internet users in Vietnam use Google, and Google has 94.5% share of search engine in Vietnam. And maybe you all know that there are almost all internet users using Google, so the Google advertising is the best way to let them know the information to advertise. So maybe, is there anyone who don't know the Google AdWords? All vendors know that? The Google AdWords is, I think, the best version right now. So the next one, what is the next trend of online marketing? Have you guys ever heard that long tail marketing? Is anyone? It's also a famous strategy. I think it's a famous rule for not only for the marketing. It's a kind of rule in our world. This is famous for 80-20 rules. The 80% of effects come from only 20% of causes. Maybe it's hard to understand only this phrase. Let's think about the keywords. This is a lot of keyword, and then when we use only 20% of keyword for Google AdWords, and only 20% shares the number of searches. Like we call it the big word. Like if you're running the air ticket company, then maybe a lot of the company use the keyword air ticket or buying. I'm not familiar with the mean that booking air ticket or something with keyword. And such kind of keyword takes almost 80% of the searches. So we should know that's true, first of all. And this is a diagram of the long tail rows. The x-axis means the keyword, and y-axis is the number of searches. And as I said, only 20%. I mean, this 20% shares only 80% of the number of searches. It's like just imagine as if like you're running an air ticket booking site, and the air ticket is contained this 20%. The other is the little highly, I rather it's the highly specific phrase like air ticket booking in Singapore or Thailand. And this phrase is a little bit more specific compared to the general phrase. So the number of searches is decreasing. So as I showed the dinosaurs, it looks like tails, the right one. So we call it the 20% is head, and then the rest of 80% called tails. So I said that the head keyword, the 20% of the keyword almost take all of the 80% of the share. So which means should we use the head keyword for SEM or not? I can say the answer. I can say no, don't buy in this head, because a lot of companies using this big word, and the price is now increasing even in Vietnam. So I think it's okay for this year or next 2 or 3 years, but thinking about to beat the competitors, we need to focus on the tail words, not the head words. And this is 20%, and there's a lot of many competitors, but on this area, the tail on here, you can choose many specific keywords on there, and there's a lot of chances because not so much company join, and even don't notice that route. Just focus on the tail word. And this is a famous example. Do you know that Amazon, which is selling, actually selling everything like books, cars, good stuff. And like Amazon, sometimes the user from 20% is over the user from 80%. If we only just focusing on tail word, we can sometimes reach the 20% of the keyword. So just remember that, and don't focus only on the 20%, the paid word. Okay. But the question is, how can we find the paid keywords? I will not mention the detail, but I just introduce a brief idea to make the paid keywords. Actually, the keywords comes from the user minds. Let me do the example. There's a guy, and he just want to buy a new car, and he knows that Toyota is a famous car brand, so he think about that I want to buy a Toyota car. And next, he think about I like blue, so I like blue cars. And after this, he think about that. Yeah, I like blue and the Prius. It's the name of the car. And so he think that I want to buy a blue Prius. So looking back to this mind flow, the most positive, maybe this guy inputs the typing the Toyota for the search. And the second one is like he just want to buy Toyota car, blue Toyota car, so he maybe type the Toyota blue. And the third one is it's more, he also knows the name, so he maybe type the Toyota Prius blue. And this keyword is containing each area. The Toyota is the big word, I mean the 20% of the keyword. And Toyota blue is containing, it's actually the middle of the keyword. And the last one is Toyota Prius blue is it's called a tail word. It's just simple example, but I think it's really important because I maybe hearing a lot of company, but a lot of company even don't know the rule and don't use any, I say, to make the keyword based on that kind of mind flow. So just focus on this rule. And actually, this is more complicated. The way of to make a new keyword, but I think even if you follow this flow, we can make some new keyword and find new keyword. So I can say that's the find long tail keyword game. The first one is what is the base problem in Vietnam? And so far we learned that the online marketing is very important, and the next trend is long tail keyword. And but if we just really focusing on the long tail keyword, is that all? Is it we can really actually want the other competitors? I can say no, because this is a biggest problem in Vietnam. So just imagine you're running your own website, and now you're going to set your goal for that website. Maybe a lot of companies say that they really want hundreds of thousands of clicks. The other says, no, we like to have a lot of impressions. And also the other one is say like, yeah, I really want to find a lot of tail keywords. And also the other customer will say decreasing budget is also important. It's true, but I can say that it's not the goal, right? So what is the goal for actually online website? I can say that it's the action. We call it conversion, like purchasing, booking something, the actual application or registration. So this is the example. Just imagine some user just use Google and looking for some books about Steve Jobs. So this advertisement will be shown by 1,000 people. So each advertisement gets 1,000 impressions. Then after that, 100 people click this advertisement. So 100 people coming to this store, but they just look at this book and know that it's quite expensive or it's a little bit it's not interesting for them. So no one buys these books. So in this case, we cannot get any order to sell for them. Just what I want to say that if we only focusing on the clicks or impressions, we cannot get the actual result, which means that we cannot get any profit for our this website, this website. So in many cases, some say the CEO will say that we just want to have a lot of clicks. So instead he got the 100 clicks, but he increased the budget for AdWords. In this case, maybe he will get 1,000 clicks. But in this case, there's also no order, so there's no meaning. But in Vietnam, the country in Vietnam, there's no way to track this order, which user will come to this site from which keyword and who actually buys books from this keyword. So there is no system for tracking. So I just want to say that focusing on conversion, like registration, application, purchasing. And if we can know the orders, the conversion, we can calculate the conversion rate. If we got 150 orders, in this case, what's the percentage of the conversion? It's simple mathematics. 50 over 1,000 equal to the 5%. So which means that if we get 100 clients, we will have 5 orders. That's simple. And we can know the number. And if we get 50,000 Vietnam dong for this book, in that case, we can calculate the average CPC. That is the 50,000 Vietnam dong times 5% equal to 2,500 Vietnam dong. Which means which if we pay 250 Vietnam dong, it's the maximum price for the CPC. Do you know the CPC? It's a cost per click, right? Yeah. So maybe if you don't understand, just Google the master seminar. It's the cost to buy one click for a specific keyword. Like if you want to buy air tickets, you have to pay the money for one click. So it's the cost per click is around 1,000 Vietnam dong, and if you get 10 clicks, you have to pay 10,000 Vietnam. This is just simple mathematics. So based on the conversion, the number of the conversion, we can actually calculate the average CPC, 2,500 Vietnam dong. And this is so helpful because we can decide the CPC based on the roster, right? So in this case, I don't suggest you to buy the higher keyword like 3,000 Vietnam dong or 4,000 Vietnam dong. Maybe we need to limit the budget under 2,500 Vietnam dong. The problem is that I can say that it is good to track the conversion, but in Vietnam, the lot of customers just don't click the button. They just call to the shop or the calling center. So almost all order is done for the phone, and that's this problem. We cannot track actually number of the conversion. So it makes the problem more difficult. So we just need to solve, and we need to know the actual number of conversions. So the problem is that we can't track the conversion. And if we don't know the conversion, there's a lot of problems we cannot know the percentage of the conversion. If we get the 1,000 clicks, how many orders we will get? We don't know. And also the other CPC is also not calculated. This is quite a big problem for us. But you should remember that almost all Vietnamese websites actually doing this. They don't know the conversion. They just focus on the clicks or impressions or CTR or CPC. I think that's it. I can say that it's not good. Not good. So we need to know the components. So I think it's a little fast, but it's the last topic for this seminar. So what is the solution for that problem? Someone knows Rich Oka. This is a famous SEM company in the US. They also are offering this kind of similar solution for this problem. And instead of them in Vietnam, we are trying to offer this, let's say, the solution, how to track conversion. It's simple. Just imagine that you are running a website to sell the air tickets. So this is sitemap of the website, and we have a top page, and under the top page we have the several pages. It includes the contents of the travel, like Singapore, and Thailand, Japan, and US. And for each page, each page, we will issue the phone number, like 111, 222, 333, 444. And after that, we also assign each keyword to each page, which means if we assign the keyword like Singapore travel to keyword 1, so if the user types the Singapore travel, the only advertisements for this page is shown under the searching box. So in this case, the whole keyword is connecting to each telephone number. So now we can know that we can assign the keyword. So if we got a call from this number, we can know that, oh, this is from this keyword. And if we get a call from this number, we can know that, oh, this is from this keyword. And through this code tracking, for example, for keyword 1, we will get 100 clicks, and keyword 2 we will get 300, the next one 400, the last one 10 clicks. But if we get these clicks, the number of the code is different. The number one is a little hard to see, but the 3 code, and 10 code, the last one is just 1 code. So using this number, maybe you can calculate the conversion rate. In this case, you can know that for the Singapore page, the conversion rate is 3%, and the Thailand is 1%, and then 2.5 and 2%. So if you only look at the clicks, the last one is just a small click, just 10 clicks, but actually the conversion rate is quite high. So we need to focus on the keyword 4. Keyword 4 is the most effective and powerful keyword, maybe. So using this kind of system, the code tracking, we call it code tracking, we can actually track the conversion. And when you hear that, it looks like a very simple solution, but it's very powerful, and it's more helpful for making more profit for your website. So in this case, the keyword 2 looks like they get many clicks, 300 clicks, but the conversion rate is quite small. That's 1%. So maybe you can decide maybe keyword we don't need to use keyword 2. You just need to focus on the keyword 4. It's simple, but it's very powerful. Maybe you can be your online market. You can make